And now we're joined by וסרמן-לנדה from the Blue and White Party, lawmaker in the Israeli parliament. Thank you for joining us here on the weekend.
It's my pleasure. Good evening and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom to you. So what can you tell us more after this attack that took place near Homesh, where an Israeli was killed? We're seeing what looks like a spike in terrorist attacks in Jerusalem, here in the West Bank, and in other places. Quite a few of these assaults taking place in close proximity and also claiming victims on more than one occasion.
What is very, very sad and unfortunate, the true tragedy, is the fact that we lost one of ours. Of course, the retaliation which was done by burning houses of civilian Palestinians is certainly not the answer. What I can say is that following the last war, let's call it by its real name, with Gaza, with the Hamas, the hit that we made vis-a-vis the Hamas was so significant and so strong, led by Minister of Defense Benny Gantz, that the Hamas does not have the vehicle with which to really make the lives of the civilian Israelis living around the Gaza Strip, or within Israel, but close to the Gaza Strip, continued living hell as it did before. And what it is trying to do is to raise the heads and the unrest in the West Bank, thereby both trying to compete with the Fatah in the West Bank and also to try and recruit Israeli Arabs, so far not being extremely successful, but they keep trying in order to cause some unrest and to continue what they call, the determined fight against Israel. And we see the result thereof. I have complete confidence in our security forces, in the Ministry of Defense, in the IDF, that they will not only get to the perpetrators of this terrible murder, but they will calm the geostrategic surrounding of Israel in the near future.
Right, so that is a big question regarding what is happening in the West Bank, where it seems like maybe the Palestinian Authority are losing a little bit of control, especially in the area of Nablus, where Hamas gunmen have been walking amok and actually getting into firefights with IDF soldiers who've been trying to conduct activities over there. Will there be some sort of attempt to shore up the Palestinian Authority forces, maybe more raids on suspects? What will the policy be, do you see, in the coming weeks?
So one of the issues we need to take into account is the day after Abu Mazen. Abu Mazen is not a young man. Let's say, stability, and I say this very cautiously because the stability is make-believe. It's not a real stability. It's held by force. There's a lot of antagonism on the Palestinian street vis-a-vis its own leadership because of corruption, because of other aspects within the West Bank. But the so-called stability and the security cooperation between the IDF and security forces, other security forces in Israel, and the Palestinian Authority keep going strong, but the actual Palestinian Authority itself is weakened given the understanding, both by the street and the leadership, that Abu Mazen, his time is limited. He's not a young man. It's a matter of time. And we await to see what will happen the day after. Meanwhile, its arch enemy, the Hamas, certainly is trying to take hold of the street, manipulating the situation, right, and trying to get the unemployed youngsters on board.